This is a story about the life of freelance trumpeter in the golden age of music in Los Angeles. Joe Valenti was a trumpeter, composer, and conductor, well versed in classical and jazz idioms. In addition, he was the founder of the Peninsula Symphony Orchestra, now in its 56th season. In 1995, Hiro Noguchi gave me a copy of Valenti's Fireworks Fanfare. I had never heard of Valenti, but Hiro told me a few stories I never forgot. In 2017, I got a call to play with the Peninsula Symphony. That's when I learned the amazing story of Joe Valenti. Born in 1927 in Brooklyn, Valenti always knew he wanted to be a musician. At age 10, his family moved to Los Angeles and he immediately took to trumpet, and soon he was teaching other children who were fascinated with his ability to play the high notes. After serving in the U.S. Navy, he enrolled at the legendary Westlake College of Music and studied conducting, counterpoint, and orchestration. In 1967, Valenti and his wife Gloria started the Peninsula Symphony. Over the years, the orchestra gave seasonal and summer outdoor concerts and today gives 8 performances a year. Upon Valenti's retirement in 2008, he was bestowed the honor of founding conductor emeritus. An active trumpet player until his death in 2011, Valenti worked closely with Hollywood composers and musicians. He worked with Emmy-winning composer David Rose. One of Valenti's close friends shared the story that Rose's Highway to Heaven trumpet solo was inspired by Joe Valenti. The television show was nominated for an Emmy Award. Malcolm McNabb recorded the solo. It was an era of transition in Hollywood and the rise of TV broadcasts, studio orchestras, and emerging genres, including sci-fi, teen movies, and big-budget epic musicals. Valenti, like many LA musicians, also worked as an actor and model for commercials. After World War II, Valenti attended the Westlake College of Music in Hollywood, where he majored in conducting and studied harmony, counterpoint, and orchestration. Westlake was a hotbed for creativity, and musicians such as trumpeter Maynard Ferguson and trombonist Frank Rosolino played in the bands at Westlake. When the Korean War broke out, Valenti joined the army. He played in the Sixth Army Band and studied with Pierre Monteux, the conductor of the San Francisco Symphony. Valenti took lessons each week before the symphony concerts. In a 1997 interview, Valenti said, "He never charged me for lessons because I was a soldier. I had a seat in the balcony taped off with Soldier Boy, and I had my lessons before every one of his concerts." After discharge from the Army, Valenti performed with notable studio orchestras in Hollywood and recorded with Art Linkletter, host of House Party, which ran on CBS. He performed with Warner Brothers Orchestra and the show Magic Land of Alakazam in the 1960s, one of the first television magic shows. Valenti moved to Glendale and played with the Pasadena Symphony. Eventually, he and his wife settled in Palos Verdes. Valenti founded his Modern Methods Music Studio in 1957 to teach brass instruments and music theory. Valenti's break as a conductor came in 1955 with the Southeast Symphony. The conductor asked him to help out with Beethoven's Eroica Symphony. The conductor was pleased, and Valenti conducted the orchestra from then on. During his time, Valenti continued his musical education, taking master classes with Sergei Kozlovitsky, trumpet study with Rafael Mendez, and advanced composition with Ferdi Korofi. After 5 years with the Southeast Symphony, Valenti left to work with other groups, including the Culver City Symphony. At the urging of musicians on the Palos Verdes Peninsula, he founded the Peninsula Symphony in 1967. The orchestra has the size of 60 to 80 musicians, and in 1981, the largest group occurred with 120 musicians performing. The Peninsula Symphony often featured world-class musicians as soloists, including violinist Linda Wang and trumpeter David Washburn playing the Haydn Concerto. In the 1970s, Valenti became the conductor of the California Junior Symphony and the Young Artists Symphony. He also served as the music director of the Los Angeles Senior Symphony at LA Musicians Union for 6 years. Many of his musicians stayed with him for decades, and a few still play with the orchestra today, including concertmaster Rebecca Rutkowski, who shared stories about Valenti's career. Rebecca recalls reassuring Valenti that when asked what they did on Earth, Each of his orchestra members would answer strongly and with pride, I played with Joseph Valenti. An article in Long Beach Press Telegram in 2008 stated, throughout his long career, Joseph Valenti, as a star trumpeter and conductor, has performed just about every type of music imaginable, from cowboy swing to bebop jazz to Beethoven symphonies and Stravinsky ballets. The man even blew his horn with Charlie Bird Parker. I was able to play any style that you needed to play, Valenti recalls, and I enjoyed it. I even played funerals. There isn't a job on trumpet I didn't do. Valenti was a true veteran of the Los Angeles music scene, with more stories to tell than you can imagine. Whether it's about the night he sat in with Bird, how he sweetened recordings for Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, the knowledge he gleaned from renowned conductor Sergei Kudzavitsky, or his experience working as an assistant to composer and orchestrator Verdi Groffi. Valenti studied with Del Stegers and Rafael Mendez. Stegers, the boy wonder from Muncie, Indiana, was Frank Simon's assistant with the Sousa Band in 1918. He was the cornet soloist with the Goldman Band from 1926 to the 1940s, performing Napoli and the Carnival of Venice arrangement several times each year. In flexibility studies and technical drills, the exercises focus on the syllable approach to lip slurring. Valenti's main teacher was Rafael Mendez, a virtuoso performer known as the Heifetz of the trumpet. From 1939 to 1949, Mendez led the brass section of the MGM Studio Orchestra. He was a full-time soloist, performing over 100 concerts annually across the US and Europe. Mendez recorded for Decca Records and was a guest on radio and television shows, including The Bing Crosby Show and The Ed Sullivan Show. He was a composer, an arranger, and authored method books. Arizona State University now houses the Rafael Mendez Library. Valenti taught in his studio in Palos Verdes with his German shepherds Beethoven and Bach. Valenti had a collection of antique bugles and trumpets, lots of mouthpieces. There were stacks of books and records around his house and studio, papers all over his desk. People called him Iron Lips. He often gave lessons in exchange for yard cleaning. One of Valenti's students, Gerard Sodayan, said Valenti's teaching was a different approach from a lot of other teachers. Valenti absorbed the ideas of Stegers and Mendez. He also focused on Arbenz and Saint-Jacome methods. Valenti authored a series of instructional books called a Sound Foundation to Music series, synthesizing the different approaches to teaching music. He told his students to pivot the lip and arch the tongue. One of his most memorable quotes was, "Fire in the heart, ice on the brain." Ice your brain and take it easy. Learn it properly. Valenti would say things like, "Hey, come on, let's play music, not just notes." He also said things like, "Let your playing do your talking," and "Pull the reins back if you're rushing." Mendez said, when warming up, "Don't worry about your sound, just get ready to sound good." Valenti was more of a commercial player. He would play the NSCO Legend, not the Brandenburg, and he wrote a cadenza to the Haydn, which he performed a few times. Earlier in his career, he had worked with Warner Brothers and on television shows. During this era, many of the legends worked in the studio, including Shorty Rogers, Ewan Razy, Chuck Findley, Malcolm McNabb, and Wayne Bergeron later. Valenti had recording credits, but he rarely talked about his own studio playing. He said he was part of the 20th Century Fox recordings. His teacher Mendez had been fired and replaced by Ewan Razy. That launched Mendez's solo career. Valenti had some strong opinions of studio playing. He said that with studio playing, it's like sharks. They watch you and wait. If you can't play it, you don't belong. Many of his students said that Joe was more than just a teacher, and some called him Papa Joe. His family life was important, his wife and 3 kids. Valenti occasionally talked about Hiro Noguchi, one of his top students. Valenti often shared stories of his success after he left Los Angeles. In the 1990s, Noguchi had gone to Baltimore and graduated from the Peabody Conservatory, studying with Ed Hoffman of the Baltimore Symphony. Hiro studied with Chris Gecker and Mark Gould and had a career in New York. He is now a soloist, teacher, and composer in Japan. Hiro told me about Valenti, his teacher, back in 1995. Hiro gave me a copy of Valenti's Fireworks Fanfare for four trumpets. 10 years later, it was performed by 80 trumpet players, conducted by my teacher Langston Fitzgerald at the ITG conference in Thailand. After 41 years with the Peninsula Symphony, Valenti conceded it was time to pass the baton. You have to have a dream, he said. If that dream is strong enough, you can accomplish certain things. It may not be the quality of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, but I am giving people the experience of playing and hearing all this great music, Beethoven, Strauss, Stravinsky. It's been a work of love, and I've been able to do almost everything I wanted to do, Valenti said. I think 41 years is plenty, so now I can move on with a good heart, saying I did my best. After retiring from the orchestra in 2008, he continued working on his memoir, writing music books, guest conducting, performing, and composing. During Maestro Valenti's final season, 2008, the association bestowed upon him the title Founding Conductor Emeritus. The Valenti family collection in the Palos Verdi Library documents the professional life of Joseph Valenti and the activities of the Peninsula Symphony. The archive donated by his daughter, Neva Valenti, includes concert programs, brochures, correspondence, records, newsletters, newspaper clippings, and photographs. Valenti passed away in 2011, leaving a musical legacy on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. During his career, Valenti conducted and performed with artists of national and international fame. This work scratches the surface of Valenti's contributions to the music world. It was a life filled with accomplishments and probably a few setbacks. He abandoned dreams of a life in the Hollywood recording studios, but found a way to thrive as a trumpeter, educator, and orchestra conductor. He is a good example of a creative entrepreneur who balanced education with musicianship, left a wealth of knowledge through his teaching and written work, and created a career in the competitive environment of Southern California. Many thanks to Rebecca Rutkowski, Joe Durthick, Gerard Savdayan, and dozens of Peninsula Symphony members for their time. They loved Papa Joe. And finally, this presentation would never have happened if I had not met Hiro Noguchi at the Peabody Conservatory many years ago. Thank you, Hiro.